All right, brother. You have been blessed in your life to meet powerful men like Father Allah, Clarence 13X, Bumpy Johnson, Malcolm X. Talk to us about meeting Bumpy Johnson as a young man in your life. What was it like meeting Bumpy Johnson?
Well, I tell you, as you asked that question, it was kind of strange because at 4 years old, again, I said I had worked for Bumpy Johnson.
Wow.
Okay? But I didn't know that I worked for Bumpy Johnson. I worked for Tommy Hartfield, following Speedy Mouse to from 146 to 148, carrying in my waistband of my short pants the numbers, slips, or either the money. And Lil Richard was the central banker at that time for them blocks, and Tommy was his cousin. But anyway, they was bankers, high-powered bankers for Bumpy Johnson. But I came to know, and they always stand around waiting, talking, or whatever the case may be, and they kept me at the back of the place. And a man walked in, cleaned him off. He had a suit, diamond type pin, and nice little hat, shoes, and he was clean. And you could see it was an aura about him. And I realized that, damn, this was a powerful person, because all these men that was here all this time seemed to have been waiting for him, because he walked past me, and I noticed him, and he walked all the way up to the front, and he ain't say nothing. He just stood up there, and then he whispered something to somebody, and the next thing I know, the meeting was over. And my brother told me when we left who that was, Bumpy Johnson. Now, I already heard of him, but this is the first time that I seen him to recognize and associate the name with Bumpy Johnson, and all that I heard about him and his tight-knit organization, that they was loyal. My brother will tell you that there was a guy in our building that worked for him, went in the precinct for Bumpy. He had a murder case, went in the precinct and killed the witness in the precinct over here, 135th Street, 32nd precinct, and killed the witness. He got 25 to life, but Bumpy looked out for him and everything. So, like, yo, this was like powerful thing. And then I got to know him through his wife. I was one of the first youth directors for How You Act when I became a teenager. And his wife, Miss Johnson, Mamie Johnson, used to be down with How You Act with the youth. She the first one that brought A.B. Lincoln, a black actress, to PS 175 on 135th Street, right by the Y. And we was in the audience, and she had an afro, a big afro, and she was telling us about how proud she was to wear her hair naturally, because at that time, until 1962, 63, our sisters wasn't wearing no natural hair without being called a nappy-headed wench. Mm-hmm. But now, Abby Lincoln made it like, yo, this is a style. I'm an actress. My husband's name is Mac Roach. He's a high-class drummist, jazz musician and shit. So this is somebody big and important. And Mamie Johnson brought her there so we could see her. So, and they lived this on 35th Street. And they had a apartment right there at 134th, 135th in the Lenox Terrace. Mm-hmm. Okay, and I used to see the same man I seen at the Democratic Club named Bumpy Johnson come and pick his wife up. So now I see Bumpy, now I see his wife, and I know Mrs. Johnson, and I'm giving her all the respect, and can't nobody say nothing to do nothing wrong to Miss Johnson, because this is Bumpy's wife, and I begin to see him, and I guess he began to see me too. We ain't never had no words. And he used to have a check cashing spot right across from where he lived, 135th, 134th.
It's still there.
Yeah, but I don't know if he still owns it. It's still there.
Oh, yeah, I don't know if he owns it.
Yeah, but that was his.
Oh, wow.
That was his. And he used to have the numbers, check cashing spot, back in the early 60s.
Damn.
Back in the early 60s. And he got out of jail in 63. Mm-hmm. You know, but he had that check cash spot. He might have had it before he went to jail, but he got out in '63, and Miss Mamie was like, bam, already there, and this is his wife. She was beautiful too, and I used to see him clean him out, and he see me and acknowledge, because of the way I'm dressing and what time it is, that yeah, this young kid is gonna, you know, do something in the underworld, be in the underworld, or whatever the case may be, that I got on me more money than, more clothes and jewelry and stuff than I'm making with this 37.50. You know, and that's how I used to see him, in front of the check cashing spot across the street from his house, either at 135th Street, when he came to pick up his wife. But we never had no words.
Was Bumpy really a force to be reckoned with in the streets?
As far as I know, my pops used to tell me, and Bumpy cousin, Coty, he died at 90 years old in a nursing home. He did 40 years, and we was in jail together. But they 40 years for a cop joint. He didn't kill a cop, but he shot the cop. But they used to say that Bumpy was so serious that he used to get brothers, and Coty was from South Carolina, brothers from South Carolina, to come up to New York, get him a party over the weekend. Give him all the girls a suit of clothes, $100 bill, a 38, and a party. And then take him on that Monday after the party over to 116th Street, Pleasant Avenue, over there where the Italian guys was, the Italian gangsters, and point the dude out and say, see them people there? All that I gave you, they trying to, stop me from getting the money to be able to give you that. And what you gonna do about it? And Coty say they would get out the car, go over there and see that person with that 38, get back in the car, and go back to South Carolina. And that's the type of fear that Bumpy put in them Italian dudes. Before, he used to be fighting with the Jewish dude, Dutch Schultz and them, about the numbers. But a lot of people don't know, and they showed it in the movie Harlem, that Bumpy got his start with the guy that used to work with Dutch Schultz, Bud Hewlin, on 148th Street and 7th Avenue. Bumpy, when he came to New York, he was living with his sister, they say on 150th. But Hewlin had a spot on 148. And Bumpy got to start with him, and like Bumpy was a chess player. And the word was that Bumpy was tight with Bud Hewlin. Bumpy was a serious enforcer for Bud Hewlin. They was extortionate, making stores pay money and shit like that. And they had worked out an agreement and all that. But anyway, a lot of people said, my pops and Coty and them, that Bumpy was so sharp that he put Bud Hewlin in position to work with Dutch, to get close to Dutch, and set him up. And if you ever watch that movie, in the end, Bud Hewlin, the black dude in the movie, he the one that made the payoffs. So it kind of, and Bumpy was a chess master, it kind of hold, water that, damn, that's being foresightful and making moves, power moves.
All right. Can we talk about Bumpy without mentioning Madame St. Clair?
Nah, it wouldn't be right, because, I was told that Bud Hewlin put Bumpy down when he came up from South Carolina. But he went to jail, did a bid on something, I don't know. And when he came home, Madame St. Clair was having trouble, I think, with that dude, Dutch Schultz. And she recruited Bumpy because he had the reputation as an enforcer for Bud. And that's when Bumpy stretched out on his own as her enforcer exclusively. And when he did that, he kind of moved in and kind of took over because she backed up. She wasn't really for the violence, but she wasn't for taking no shit from a white man. and that's how they say she used to kick it. And Bumpy got the position and moved from there, but she really had the position where Bumpy could really sow his oats, and she was there to make it happen like he wanted to happen, you know. And Madam St. Clair, Stephanie St. Clair, I believe her name was in that position to make it happen big time for Bumpy. So she gave him his big start. Bud Hewlin gave him a start, but not as big as Madam St. Clair.
Why did you think Harlem loved Bumpy so much?
Wow,
Why did they love Bumpy?
That's an easy one. Look at here. Anytime a man got the attitude of a Robin Hood, that means that he got money, and wherever he getting it from, he getting it, and he giving it back to the community. People really appreciated that not only did Bumpy get people up out the South from South Carolina, come to New York and get on and make more money than they ever made, and they show their appreciation through being loyal and never ratting on Bumpy. Bumpy ain't had no rats in his organization. And the community, that people that had problems with their rent learned that they could go to Bumpy and get some help without strings attached, that they might could get rent money from him and never had to pay him back, and ain't nobody coming to extort him. So that word got out. Thanksgiving, when people was down on their luck and didn't have no turkeys, Bumpy used to hire trucks and fill them up with turkeys and give them out to the people, and maybe buy school clothes for the children and all that. So he was getting that money and involving himself with giving back to the community, and the people really appreciated that, because at that time, just following the Depression, nobody gave a fuck about him. Nobody cared about him. And here it is, a black man that got a lot of power in their community, cared about him by showing that they wasn't going to be put out of doors if they go to Bumpy Johnson for some help. They get rent money. That if they didn't have no food and they were starving, they can get some food money or either some food from them. And that meant a lot. And that if they was having trouble with somebody, especially the police, they can get some help from Bumpy. Because it even said that Bumpy crew used to rough up the police for messing with people in the community. You know, so word got around from him doing that good, and he was a real Robin Hood, in the sense that he might have robbed the hood to give back to the hood, you know, because most of his customers was black. So the numbers was an industry that he controlled, and he took the money from the poor people that had their nickels and dimes, invest in playing numbers, hoping to hit it big. Well, they could hit the number hoping to make it big, and Bumpy made it, you know, available so they could play numbers. But he did more than making it available so that they could play numbers. He also gave back with his annual Thanksgiving turkey giveaway, his back to school giveaway, his helping people during their rent difficulties, and in general, any type of problems that the people that knew him or could approach him had, Bumpy was there for them. And people loved that and respected it. And the most important thing to me was the loyalty, that nobody talked against Bumpy. I don't even, like, Bumpy had some enemies, and he used to step to his business with his enemies, and his enemies still respected him. Like one of the big time gangsters of that time, Red Dillon. It said that Bumpy and Red Dillon used to shoot it out. And I believe Red Dillon was said to have shot Bumpy, and they still had a mind respect for one another and didn't kill each other, but they eventually became tight friends and all that good stuff between two vicious and serious brothers.
The time of Bumpy Johnson, black business was thriving and booming. I came up in the 60s and I remember the mom and pop stores. What happened to black business?
Well, the demise of black business was really a big business thing. Corporations came into the community. The first one I remember was Safeway. Because I remember moms and pops used to compete with the A&P.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mr. Percy had a store and Mr. All had a store, and the A&P was in between them, and they was making money, just as much money as the A&P. A&P was on the size of a small ma and pop store, but it was a big corporation. They had big stores all over country, all across the country. A&P. Mm-hmm. That was the first big company stores that I knew. But I'm telling you, mom and pop used to compete with them. They didn't get put out of business. But what knocked them in the head, in my estimate, was on 145th Street, between 7th and 8th, they built a Safeway store. And Safeway was a huge store that had all the products in the world, grocery, household products, and everything of that nature, for minimal price, at very low, reasonable prices. And everybody in the neighborhood started patronizing Safeway and neglecting the mom and pop store. And then you seen, over a period of time, 1, 2, 3 years at the most, the moms and pop stores going out. I can remember Mr. Richardson. He was my godfather. His store was right next to my building, 250. And he was the first one to leave. Then I seen Mr. All in the corner. He was the second one to leave. That was grocery stores.
You think that was by accident?
No, that was a design. Big corporation.
Accident. I mean, you think that was by design to get them out of there?
Yeah, because big corporation come in, they don't want no competitors.
Right.
They want a monopoly. Okay, and the monopoly was that not only was big corporation taking the little mom and pop store out of business, around that time, the government had some serious urban renewal development plans. And one of them was that I knew of, was this dude named Moses. He tore down a lot of houses and ran a lot of businesses out of our community to build the highways on the east side and maybe on the west side, I don't know. But I know that they was building them as I was growing up on the east side. And he ran through not only our neighborhood, but all of New York, so to speak. And you could do research and learn about this dude, Moses, that was his last name, and the urban renewal programs of the government. And you take that together with the big business of corporations and the government urban renewal program, it just not only ran a lot of business out of place, but displaced a lot of businesses as well, and people's homes, apartments, whatever the case may be. So it was by design, and coupled with that, at that time, a lot of the families suffered because the jobs dried up during that time. When I was coming up as a youngster, me and all my friends had our fathers in the house. And then when business turned, a lot of things happened where the fathers was no longer in the house. Like one of my uncles, he started drinking. I don't know, he lost his job and he started drinking. One of my friends that I used to call a cousin, father, he started drinking and eventually died. So a lot of things was happening to destroy the rebuilt black community. You know? Yeah, me and Buster became fast friends. So I was 10 when I first seen the father, and when he saved me from the police, I was 16. But I was already a 5%er by virtue of, now when this happened, it was a week before Thanksgiving when I stole that hat. Mm-hmm. All right? And ever since about the end of September, early October, I was a 5% by virtue of being down with the Harlem Six. The Harlem Six was called, ever since 1963, the Blood Brothers. But that's not the name they gave themselves. That's the name that the press gave them after they had the fruit stand riot on, I think it was April 17th, 1963. And they got a lot of publicity. And we gravitated towards them because they was going to the mosque too. I used to see them in the mosque, and we was teenagers. They was about 2 or 3 years older than me, but these was my brothers. We going to the mosque, getting it from Malcolm. So we Malcolm crew early. And then when the knowledge came, we was already bonded as the Blood Brothers after that incident with the fruit stand. So that was in 63. 64 come, the 5% teachers hit the street. And we just instantly, that's who we are. Now we got a real identity, all right? But we didn't know at least uptown. I was from uptown, 146th Street. I didn't know who our leader was.
All right.
And then when I came back and seen Buster Daddy, to thank him, he wasn't on 126th Street. He was on 127th Street, right where he had got shot the first time. And he had a cipher, and he was building. And he was saying all the things that I was learning since I got hooked up with Malcolm and got 5% knowledge in the street. And bam, I say, damn, I got the right one.
Mm-hmm. Were you locked down at the time of father being killed, assassinated? Okay, yeah.
2 days before he got assassinated.
Talk to us about that. What happened, man? Was it a hit, or was it just jealous people?
Nah.
Talk to us about that right there.
Nah. Jealous people might have been used, but it came down from the government as far as we felt and knew, is that we always said the one who had the most to gain by his demise was the government. And that was because he was waking people up to all the things that the government was putting the people to sleep about. And they didn't like that. Like I'm telling you, he was threatened by Burton Roberts about his teachings. Burton Roberts didn't threaten him because if you come up to the Bronx stealing and murdering or killing or whatever the case may be, I'm gonna have your black ass put in jail. He told him straight up, and it was written in a copyright book by Barry Gotter, the Mayor's Man. You ever read the Mayor's Man? I think it's on page 220. And they had a Christmas party, and Burton Roberts threatened him that if you bring your teachings to the Bronx, as he said, you could teach that in Manhattan, New York County, Kings County, Queens County. But if you bring your teachings to Bronx County, I'm gonna have your black ass put in jail, quote unquote. And that was like from a governmental official. The super DA of the Bronx, of New York rather, Burton Roberts. So that's government having an idea about stopping him from his teaching, or from teaching. And Burton Roberts was the super DA of New York. So he felt that way. You could bet your bottom dollar the rest of them, or either most of them, felt that way. And I read a report around that time that the father gave me. It was from a guy named Harold Golden, and he was the director of community relations and employment. And it was a 27 copy, and I read it, and they knew us to a T. Whoever wrote it or subscribed it did their homework research to a T. It sounded like a 5% wrote this shit, straight up. But it was a government document distributed, as CC said, to 27 people. And when the father let me read it, he wanted to note, what did I see of it? And I told him about how meticulous this shit was, that it described us to a T. And he said, you don't notice anything else? And I said, I might have said a few other things, but I really said no. And then he said, look at the bottom. How many copies been distributed? And it said 27, CC 27. And he said, yeah, that means 27 other people is down with this shit here. And that was government. And they had us under some serious surveillance.
All right. Before you get to that, so being that he's working with the mayor,
Yeah.
but Mayor Lindsay, how does that play out? Because you're saying that this guy's the DA, and did he want to cut him off from working from the mayor? How does that work?
Well, he might have, they got secret cabals in the government, and he might have been part of the real egregious function of the government, the secret government that no matter what you do with these niggas, Lindsay, we gonna kill these motherfuckers. You know, that's what the CIA is about. They do black work, as they call it. Everything is black bag work. It's not publicized. It's not made known. It's all done in secrecy. And I tell you something, man, that they use a lot of Cubans. And the first assassination attempt on the father was essentially by Cubans that was associated with the Omega-7 from New Jersey. But they came up from Miami working with the CIA. And one of them dudes, I don't remember his name, was associated with, guess what? What's that Watergate break-in? One of them Cubans was with the Omega-7. Omega-7. So they all, the ties, the connections, you'd be surprised at where the shit lead to. And he lived right in Jersey, and Jersey wasn't nothing but a skip and a hop. And if you read the FBI papers on the father, one of the mention that they mentioned, Fair Play Committee.
Stop.
Fair Play Committee.
Stop, because that's the next question, man.
That's good.
Stop, man. This is going to be the last question for him, because he got to roll. But, brother, we're going to have to get you whenever you can make time.
I be told him.
Yeah, whenever you get time, we got to bring you back probably next week sometime, brother, because there's so many questions that I'm thinking about now, asking you about when you was doing your time in prison, how tough these Europeans was when it came to the lessons. If you get caught with lessons in jail,
I did
how important that was. See what I'm saying?
59 days in the box.
Yeah, because you got caught with
Holding the parliament.
Look at that. So now what I want to ask you is, y'all jumping the gun. Come on, Rob Bond. We talking about the Fair Play Committee. You got Jomo Kenyatta, 37X. He created a Harlem Mau Mau movement in Harlem. Do you think, hypothetically, I'm just putting it out there, do you think Jomo Kenyatta maybe could have had something to do with the assassination of the father? Because they was about that business. They was about killing people as well.
Well, I know, and I know Jomo Kenyatta, ever since he was Charles 730X. He used to be Malcolm bodyguard, and I used to see him in the mosque with Malcolm. And he used to really, really love the Five Percenters to the extent that he wanted us to be Mau Mau's. And he used to have his crew watch us, surveil us, and everything. And they was on it. But he got shot the week before the father. Okay, so I don't know what his reaction was to that or who he thought shot him. The press also tried to say that he got shot by some extortionists, Harlem extortionists, Philadelphia extortionists, things of that nature, the gangsters that was shaking people down. But I don't know. We didn't never get no inkling that Charles Kenyatta had anything to do with the father, other Mau Mau's. He admired the Five Percenters. He might have been jealous of the father because the father had us and he didn't. His recruitment was, real minimal. His people was all right, but they didn't have no force. They was like just in name, from my estimate. I don't think it was 40 of them. And at any one time, you would see 40 of us just rolling together, all up in Harlem. But he made a big statement one time in '65 at my mother's church, the First Corinthian Church. They had, what's my man name? Dr. Martin Luther King there, and all of the Christian leaders and the Muslim leaders and things of that nature. But when he got on the podium, he said something that if they didn't do this, that, or the other, that we all gonna be 5%ers. And would you believe he was saying it against us, but the people took it that this is the thing to do. And they gave him the biggest arousing hand of applause that night, even bigger than Martin Luther King, when he said that all is gonna be 5%ers. You know, and like I said, oh shit. And I'm sitting up there, me and my crew, about 4 of us in the front. We had we was wearing kufis at the time. And he like, boy, y'all gonna be like them little mamas. You know, but the people loved it in my mama church. You know, King and all of them was up there. So I never even thought about that until your question, you know, cause
I'm gonna say it like this, right? So the Fair Play Committee, when they talk about them, for those who don't know, they was responsible for like communications and stuff like that. They actually said that that group has something to do with the first Black Panthers, which is in Harlem, to be exact, and St. Nicholas.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
So
Eddie Ellis and David.
Exactly.
David White.
So that's another history for y'all. You know what I'm saying? That name or that title was in Harlem first, before in LA.
Right.
But what I mean, to speed it up, the dudes that how they got killed. So it's the father is Jomo, right? Mm-hmm. It's the father, and then it's
Jomo didn't get killed. He got wounded.
He got wounded. That's right. Then it's the father. Then there's a guy named Anthony Reed.
No.
What's his name?
Tony.
Was it Reed?
Tony Reed.
Tony Reed. You sure it's Tony?
Anthony is Tony.
Oh, Anthony is Tony. Right.
Short for Tony.
Right.
That was my brother. That was my cousin-in-law. That was
Yeah,
my
so
cousin's wife.
in the FBI file, they say that he was the connect to the Fair Play Committee, and that there was a meeting that was held in the Apollo by the
Tony
post.
Reed?
Yes, they said that. This is in the FBI record.
I don't remember that.
Then they said that they had a meeting in the Apollo, and in this meeting they was saying that, yo, if y'all dudes don't stop doing this, you messing up our money, yo, you out of here. We killed the father, and we killed this guy, Kenyatta.
That's in the FBI file.
That's an FBI file.
I got the FBI files. I ain't never seen that.
Yeah, it's there. Actually, I can show it
You
to you.
gotta show it to me. Yeah, please. That's good.
I got it on deck.
Wow, that's new. Yeah, that's new.
Yeah, so I asked that because I was like, who is this Fair Play Committee that I keep reading about?
Yeah.
I'm like, who is these dudes, dog? And I'm like, that's
But
crazy.
you know who was with the Fair Play? Eddie Ellis, David White, and even Amir Baraka. He was the chairman of the Fair Play Committee.
So what they were saying was that they was putting pressure on businesses.
Right.
All right, so what I need you to do right now, I want my brother to
I gotta
close
go,
out
yeah.
because I don't want to, keep
All
him
right, that's good.
past his time.
Wow.
Close out, bro.
I'm gonna show you this,
Yeah.
dog.
While
Okay,
he's
yeah.
showing you that,
That's peace.
can you let the family know where they can reach you at if they would like to get you for? Do you have any website? Do you have an email? If they would like to book you in for an interview or something like that, let the family know where they can catch you at. You can mention the guards, the Nation of Guards Nerve Store. Go in.
Peace, family. I could be reached by email, allahborn379@gmail.com. Again, allahborn379@gmail.com. I'm on occasion at the 4 o'clock at a law school in Mecca, Street Academy. That's 2122 Law and Justice 5% Square. All right? Harlem, New York, 10027. That's Harlem, New York, 10127. At a Law and Justice and the 5% Square. We had that name changed to that, so you could address me there at a law school in Mecca. Peace.
Peace.